Protect your DNA. BioPQQ can promote formation of new mitochondria. Infowarsstore.com.
Well, the Clinton email scandal has exposed major corruption in Washington, D.C. Now, we already knew that there was massive corruption there, but there it is in black and white. Now, the play that we're seeing really coming out of all of these email scandals is that it's the fault of those exposing the corruption, not, of course, the corrupt players that were exposed. The fact of the matter is Hillary Clinton only has herself to blame. It was her decision to set up a private email server and escape federal regulations.
That's right. So what we're seeing here now is the FBI's astounding reversal to go ahead and say, we're going to go ahead and look at these emails. They've had these for weeks, Leanne. There was undue pressure on Director Comey to do this internally. Even I was reading even a blog that his wife was pressuring him. He's getting a lot of bad press, thanks to us in part, because we have to hold the spotlight on him. What he did was so abhorrent, saying that there was no criminality in her behavior. He's changed his mind. Much to the voices coming out against him, even in his own sphere, if you will, Eric Holder being one of them, the former Attorney General himself. He says, I fear he has unintentionally and negatively affected public trust in both the Justice Department and the FBI. Well, Holder knows a thing or two about that. So before Comey was the poster boy, the golden child, because he wouldn't indict Hillary. It looks like Hillary, the latest email earthquake, is going to crumble on her like a house of cards. We're watching living history right now, and the fact that Comey is doing this, it's astounding. But at the same time, he doesn't have any friends, Leanne. He could face indictment himself, by the way.
Right. Yeah. It doesn't seem as though he's trying to gain the approval of people like the former Attorney General Eric Holder, which, by the way, he was actually majorly responsible for the erosion of trust in the FBI and the Department of Justice. Let's just take a little history stroll through his scandals there. Obviously, there's Fast and Furious, which was the Justice Department program sent over 2,000 illegal firearms to Mexican drug cartels. This left over 300 Mexican nationals and 2 agents dead. He tapped AP reporters' phones, targeted James Rosen and Fox News. After the Fort Hood massacre in 2009, he called it workplace violence, not an act of terror. They actually purged references of radical Islam from training manuals. So words like Muslim, Islam, Muslim Brotherhood, Hamas, and Sharia were not mentioned once in the FBI's counterterrorism lexicon. This meant that potential future jihadists like the Tsarnaevs could be interviewed multiple times by the FBI, and then they were released because they failed to find any incriminating evidence of terrorist links because they weren't properly trained. Eric Holder became the first and only U.S. Attorney General in American history to be held in contempt of Congress on both civil and criminal grounds. He protected rogue IRS employees after they targeted conservative groups. We all see how he interprets the Second Amendment. He refused to take action against any of the hate crimes or voting rights violations by the Black Panthers, who were targeting white voters in 2008. Rejected voter ID laws. Of course, he says all the banks were too big to jail. And of course, now he's working for a firm that represents those big banks. He's prosecuted a record number of whistleblowers because once again here, in this current administration, it's the people exposing corruption who are the bad guys, not the actual criminals there who are involved in the corruption.
I couldn't have said that better myself. So that accurate depiction of Eric Holder, and you mentioned that he works for Covington Burling right now, defending Wall Street clients who commit white-collar crimes. That's what he does for a living currently. I remember anecdotally, just really quickly, we're running out of time, listening to his wife have a conversation about how they're buying this multi-million-dollar property in City Center, which is an upscale complex in Washington, D.C. He embodies everything that's wrong with our system, the revolving door. He used his position of public service to then gain a position of private power, and he has no right to crucify anybody, much less Director Comey. But, talking about the Department of Justice for a moment, taking this to Lynch, she is pleading the fifth. She pled the fifth regarding the Iran deal. You mentioned this earlier off camera. She's pled the fifth roughly 70 times related to Hillary Clinton's email scandal. And this woman is everything. She is literally a swamp dragon. When Trump says drain the swamp, this is exactly who he's talking about. 30 years of this, she's been doing similar things. They use this position, one of the highest offices in our land. They're tasked with guarding our laws, and they're exploiting them. I want to get through this quickly. So we've mentioned the email scandal. We've mentioned Comey, and he could easily fall on his sword. Taking this to the email situation and Donna Brazile for a moment. Donna Brazile was just fired from CNN, and she gives this ridiculous statement, thank God it's nearly over. I've got news for you, dollface. It is just beginning. What you did was a crime. CNN, they never acknowledged the validity of WikiLeaks, and yet they're firing people based on the validity of WikiLeaks. Explain that one to me.
Right.
So,
Well, she can no longer say, hey, I'm a Christian, I wouldn't lie, because there it is in black and white. Your lies have been exposed.
Correct.
Thank you so much, Margaret.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for watching the show tonight. We will see you here again tomorrow at 7 p.m. Central.
Look, I'm not going to sit here and say, see, I told you so, that communist Chinese-style net censorship was coming to the web, because it's already here. It's being announced. The way you keep the internet open and free is you get involved more than ever. You don't let them break your will. Go to Infowars.com/app and download an app that took us over a year to develop that we're going to be expanding on the next few months with free video and audio and podcast feeds and breaking news and alerts and so much more. Don't sit by and let the internet and free speech be stolen from you. Take action.